Williams. Hi, Nicole. We were just introducing your segment.
Yay!
Hi.
Hi.
How gorgeous.
So fun.
I don't know about that, but... Is that allowed to say, Nicole?
Yes, it is, as a matter of fact. I'm all about a little sexual harassment in the workplace.
Hey, we're going to be talking about toxic boss. No,
is that
no,
wrong?
why do you ask?
Come on.
Nicole, I have to tell you, we did a little poll. So as we are going to be talking, Rick is going to tell us a little bit later what the results are of the poll. We asked people. Okay, it's Backstage Live. So we asked people, what would they wish upon their toxic boss?
Yo, I can't wait to hear the
and
answers.
we gave them a few options, and we're gonna get you the answers as we're gonna talk about this, because all jokes aside, this is a serious topic.
Oh, it is, because seriously, you spend so much time at work. So if you have someone taking you down and really just affecting your performance, how you feel about yourself, it is your livelihood we're talking about. This is how you pay the bills. It's really important.
Especially these days when the economy is so rough and people are very afraid about their job. They can't just leave their job and find another job.
You couldn't be more right. That's exactly the truth. But at the end of the day, I tend to work from a fairly abundant perspective, and if someone's belittling you, making you feel bad about yourself, the quicker you can get out, the better, because you start to believe the garbage that this boss is starting to inflict on you. You believe you're an idiot, you believe that you can't perform, and that's not true most of the time.
And no one should have to take that in their job situation. I mean, no one should have to take that kind of belittling. And let's talk about the fact that this, how often does this happen? Let's start with that.
Okay, way more than you'd expect, and in part because the economy is so bad. Bosses are stressed out. You know, it's like there's so much pressure that a lot of times good bosses end up becoming toxic without even realizing it, because they're under such enormous pressure. So it's more rampant than ever, to be honest with you.
How do you know when a tough boss has crossed the line and became a toxic boss? Because there is a line a fine line there. Not there fine, maybe, but
No, there is, and you know what's even more important about that? Sometimes they could be toxic to you, but not toxic to me. So it's like a boss can treat individuals differently. And we may take it more personally. Women tend to take a toxic boss more personally. You know, they think that a male or a female who's holding them accountable or being constructively critical is being toxic, and that's not true. You know, so oftentimes it's how you feel about yourself. But as soon as they start, you know, calling you names, belittling you in public, making you feel bad about yourself, when it's not constructive, when you can't say, okay, you know, she's right, I could have worked a little harder on this, you know, then you know it's sort of crossed the line.
When do you decide, I can't take this anymore, I need to do something about it? Because oftentimes a lot of people may want to say, you know what, if I don't want to deal with this, I don't want to rock the boat, I have a job that I love, I'm making good money, I have a family to support. How do you know when it's time to say enough is enough? Usually,
you know that Sunday night feeling when you are about to go to something really bad on Monday and you're sick to your stomach.
The Sunday night blues.
The Sunday night blues. Like if you... Honestly, if it affects... So I got into this whole business because my mom worked in a paint factory and she hated her career, and by virtue of that, she hated her life. So if you are not able to have fun in the rest of your life, if you can't be with your partner, if you can't talk to your kids, if you are gaining 50 pounds, like, okay, enough is enough.
It's time to move on. Or time to deal with a situation.
Yes, and that's the other alternative, and I'm really glad you mentioned it. Sometimes it's not moving on. A lot of times with toxic bosses, they're bullies, and as soon as you say, I'm just not going to take this anymore, you sit them down and say, listen, I'm not into this. Like, you really, what's your problem? As soon as you have that conversation, they go on to someone else. They don't want the confrontation.
Because a lot of them are not comfortable with. And interestingly enough, they don't like the confrontation.
That is exactly
and the longer you wait to confront them, the more difficult it will be for you. Let's talk about the fact that there are 4 different toxic bosses.
Yes.
And with those different styles come different ways of approaching and dealing with it.
Absolutely. So first you've got your boundary crosser. And this is men and women do this. Women tend to tell too much personal information and they want to become friends with their colleagues. So they're like, hey, come to my house on Sunday. And if you don't, you're in trouble. And then men tend to play, at least with women, interesting. You might be up for a promotion if you come out for drinks with me on, Tuesday night. So there's this.
Don't stop. That was nice.
It's just the inappropriate brownie crust.
Obviously, no inappropriateness here.
None. See, this is just fine. Come on. He is so cute. So anyways, yeah, again, I'm going to illustrate.
You can come and do our show anytime, really.
you.
I'm extending an invitation, even if we have no topic to talk about.
I'll just come and visit you. Just stroke you.
Back to the toxic bosses.
Yes. So boundary crosser, way inappropriate, just like I demonstrated for you.
What do you do in that situation?
Okay. Now, this is the hardest to deal with because their ego's attached.
Right.
So just like if you want to break up with someone, it's me, not you. So honestly, like, this is such a bad career strategy, but I'm telling you, it works in real life.
Yeah.
Like, most people would tell you, just deal with it. I say, are you kidding me? Like, tell them that you have a boyfriend. Like, you're so attractive, and in normal circumstances, I'd be so into you, but, I can't because I'm already attached.
Which is, by the way, it's good that you mentioned, because it really is a good way to also, in not work-related stuff. So in your life, when you have an advance from someone that you don't really like, the best way to sort of deal with it is just say, hey, I'm with someone, or I'm starting to see someone, and you don't offend them.
You're ugly, and I wouldn't even think about.
And if it's your boss, then that's a good way to keep your job, and they don't have to save face.
Absolutely. And like, so the woman who, the girl boss who invites you out for her baby shower, you just have other plans. Like, if you have other plans and you try and make it not personal, so her ego or his ego isn't attached, you're going to get away unscathed.
Okay. Next.
Okay.
Okay. We're getting a signal.
We're getting
a question by a viewer.
Okay.
Question by a viewer. Yes.
What do you do with a boss that never admits a mistake or is a know-it-all?
Is that what?
A know-it-all. What do you do with a boss who never admits a mistake and is a know-it-all?
Oh my God.
Which is kind of a rough. That doesn't qualify quite as a toxic boss, but it can be toxic.
It can be toxic, especially when you have ideas that you think are going to better the company, but you're getting stifled by this person who thinks that they're the only one who has the idea. It's tough.
Yeah.
I think that you have to position it around how it's best for her. Right. So I have another approach that you might want to try, and make it work to her advantage.
Also, perhaps making them feel like it's their idea.
Hello, are you a career manager?
No, I'm just thinking. I've done that before.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yes, what a great idea you
Bring
have.
them on board. Give them a sense that they were part of the thinking process, and then it's not just your project. It's both your project.
Or ask them questions. How would you deal with this? Like, just engage.
Or what do you think about? What do you think about doing it this way? That way, they sort of get that control.
Yes, they've confirmed that they like the idea, so it's theirs.
That's a good question, by the way. Who was that?
Really
who asked that question? Rick. Who asked that question? That was a really
Cool Jets. I love Cool Jets. That's an excellent question.
That's a great name and a great question. So thank you for that. Keep them coming. Next, toxic boss.
Okay, so then you got your boundary crosser. Then you have your controller, your gatekeeper. So this is a person who. I have them here in case we need to look at our list. I'm glad. Yes. I have them memorized.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I wrote it down. So we have the controller, babysitter.
This is a babysitter. Yeah. This is like this person who's over your shoulder, won't let you make a decision. Is just watching the clock when you come in, watching what time you leave, and it's like, seriously, enough. Like, you're so.
What do you do with those? One, we already talked a little bit about perhaps bringing them into the process.
Some really good. Yeah. You had some excellent ideas. I think that you might have a book in you. Career expert extraordinaire.
Yes.
You got to do that. You also have to they're afraid that they're going to look bad, so you've got to give them confidence. This is someone who you probably have to email too much in the process so that they feel comfortable. And you really have to overperform so at the end of the day they trust that you can execute, because really what they're afraid of is that you're going to mess up.
What about those who are also afraid that you might be going for their job? Is that also part of the controller?
Yeah, it is part of the controller. And this is a person, too, who keeps you out of important meetings, keeps you away from their boss. And sometimes you just have to go around them. Like, it's a bit sneaky, but honestly, you
Could that get you, though, into more trouble? Because that's the danger. If you go around them, that they'll get even more upset.
It's the danger. But this is sort of the deal. Like, with a toxic boss, you've got two choices. You can walk away or you can work with the situation. Right. And I'm kind of like, your viewers are so smart and strategic. $10 tells me that they can actually find a way around. And then if that upper boss thinks and identifies you as being really smart, all the better. You won't get burned out of that. And you know what?
And if you do, maybe that's all for the better sometimes.
And you know what? Toxic bosses, other people know they're toxic too. Right. Like, and their boss probably has a sense of this. So it's like,
you're not alone in this.
You're not alone in this. And you can't get bullied. Like, you can't, as soon as you start working your career around somebody's insecurity, you're going to get stifled.
We should say it's also affect like you said, it affects your life from beginning to end. We have another question from a viewer?
Yes. How do you deal with the passive-aggressive
Ooh,
boss?
that's a good one. Passive aggressive.
This is perfect. Thank you, Asker.
The Jekyll and Hyde, right?
Yes, it's exactly the Jekyll and Hyde. Passive aggressive. This is the person who seriously, it's like in front of your face, what a great idea, and then shuts the door and he's like, that guy's a jerk. You know, it's like, and I love the passive aggressive.
Or vice versa. Tells you it's a horrible idea and then steals it.
Steals it. That's passive aggressive. Or it's the person, you do a bad job and they're not willing to actually confront you, but they'll punish you
without even telling you.
Yeah, it's like, seriously.
Or give you the Sunday shifts, or and you're like, what did I do? Because if they don't tell you what you've done wrong, then you can't fix it, and that's sort of like the passive aggressive part of it.
That is exactly
and as a boss and a manager, they should be able.
Yes, have the conversation. You know, have the guts to do that. This is your job as a boss.
You're a manager. That you're supposed to be able to manage people.
Yes, but you said it right. The solve on this one is to confront them. That's what they're actually avoiding. You were absolutely right. They're scared like crazy about the conversation. So if you provoke it, they're going to stop picking on you because, honestly, they don't want this kind of conversation.
To be fair to viewers, I'm sure a lot of them are wondering, because it's easier said than done. How do you do that? It's such a balancing out. How do you do that without offending the boss, without putting yourself in more of a danger of losing your job, and still getting what you want out of it?
Yes, that's such a good question. What I love is a question. So it's are you upset with the way I performed on this?
It's not too threatening that way.
It's not threatening. It's a question. You're opening it up to them. They can take it in whatever direction they want. Would you like to see it a different way? I
don't want you upset at me. How do I do this in a better way so that you're happy and I'm happy?
Exactly. Just ask the question. Did you, were you happy with my performance in the passive aggressive? Did you talk about me behind my back? What did you say? Did you steal my idea? You're not accusing, because as soon as you accuse, then the defenses go up.
And then there's no way, that's not going to be good.
It's not a conversation. So it's literally defenses down, ask a question, and then you can start to have a conversation.
What happens if it still doesn't work? So what happens if they still get defensive, or if they just don't take what you're asking?
There's a point. I wrote a book called Girl on Top, and it's like dating rules turn career strategies. And it's just like you can't expect to change someone. You start dating that guy and you wish he was someone different, and he's not going to be someone different. That's true of bosses too, and you have to be willing to walk away. So now, if you've had the conversation, if you've dealt with this appropriately, now it's time to start
to the
making
next level.
calls.
Or
either
take
talk
it to their boss.
Yes, take it to a boss, or start to get your resume on Monster, start to get ready for leaving the job.
We should say you should probably start looking for a new job as the process starts, just as a backup. You may want to stay in your job, but it's always good to have options.
I love options.
Let's talk about, we talked about all of them. Oh, Screamer, last one.
Yeah, no, this is a person who's yelling at you, calling you names, won't reprimand you behind closed doors, actually prefers to do it outside.
In front of everybody.
Yes, this is classic bully material. This is insecurity at its,
And that should never be acceptable.
Never. If someone's yelling at you, and literally I've had this situation, and you just have to say, please don't yell at me.
Yeah, just say, you know what, I'm a grown-up, and this is how you would do it?
Yes.
I'm a grown-up, please, that's unacceptable, please don't. In a very calm voice, you do it calmly, because...
Yes, and ultimately, because you're so calm and composed, that's going to make them even more mad, but ultimately be the bigger person in this. The last thing you want to do is fight fire with fire and be like, I'm an idiot, I think you're a jerk. Like, that doesn't help.
They are still the boss, and you have to be careful never to give them ammunition to fire you.
You are so good at this.
Rick, there's another question, right?
There's not another question, but Nicole...
By the way, we should say that we're getting a lot of questions because this is a topic, we knew this topic was going to get a lot of response.
It's hot.
Yeah. So we set up a poll on our...
Yes, I want to hear this. What do you want to do to your...
What would you wish for a toxic boss? And the 50% of our respondents said, let them get hired by someone even more toxic than they are.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Wouldn't that be good?
Revenge best served cold, right? Karma.
Yes.
Toxic karma, we call it. So 50% said they wish they would hired by an even worse toxic boss. Yeah.
Okay.
40% said, let's trade places for a day.
Ooh, that's a good one, right?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes.
And then
you get to give them a little piece of their own medicine.
I like that one.
And 10% thought that seeing toilet paper trailing from under their shoe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one, right?
Yeah, it is good.
Something really embarrassing.
I
Toilet
love
paper
that,
under the
actually.
shoe.
Yeah.
The whole office gets to see it. Takes
I
a little bit
love
of the
it.
toxicity out, the poison, right?
It does. And you're having fun. I like it. I like your viewers are very smart.
Let's ask you another question. When we have a toxic boss, What are we wrapping up? We're getting the signal.
We're getting the
last question.
You get one last one.
Last question.
Okay.
Is it better, and this maybe we've talked about it, but maybe as an overall thing, is it better to deal with it, or is it better to wait until you know?
You know what? It's better to deal with it before it becomes crisis. Like, just at this level, start to just nip it in the bud. And it can be as simple as, you know, I'd prefer you to talk with me this way, or, you know, and sometimes
you can be classy about it.
Yes, and you can positive reinforce. It's just like a kid or a dog. It's like when your boss actually does something good, you know, like, be the adult about this, you know, say, oh, I really appreciated when you asked me to do it this way, you know, instead of yelling in my face.
Oh, well,
boy.
Nicole, we've had such a wonderful time with you, and I know our viewers did, because we have gotten so many great questions about this. So I'm guessing there are a lot of people with toxic bosses out there. So
rampant.
I hope you gave them some great advice.
I hope so.
Yes.
If not, call me.
Nicole, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
It
you.
is so lovely to have you here.
I'm gonna come back
We're
and
going to have you back anytime. Sexual harassment
every
anytime.
Saturday? I'm just going to walk by.
No, but I'll let you know. So
Okay,
you
thank
can.
you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.